Welcome to Talesmith, where voices of the unknown meet stories of the past.
I was 23 when I met Jake. At that age, I was still figuring out who I was, who I wanted to be, and where I saw myself in the future. But then Jake came into my life, and everything shifted. There was something about him, something magnetic. He had this quiet strength, this ambition that immediately caught my attention. He wasn't flashy, but he had big dreams, and those dreams lit a fire in me. I wanted to be a part of them. I was taken by the idea of us, of Jake and me, becoming a power couple. I loved his drive, his belief that no matter what, he would succeed. And I believed in it too. I believed in him, in us. It was impulsive, it was reckless, but it felt right at the time. We secretly married a month after meeting. The whirlwind romance made sense to me in that moment. I didn't think twice about it. He was the person I wanted to be with, and I was all in. But looking back, I see it for what it was. Young love, full of dreams and hope, but lacking the foundation needed to support such an important commitment. I loved him, but in some ways I was too naive to understand that love alone couldn't hold everything together. Just 3 months into our marriage, Jake cheated on me. The sting of betrayal was sharp and sudden. I felt gutted, exposed, and, for the first time in our relationship, unsure of where we stood. But despite the hurt, I wanted to believe his apology. I wanted to believe that it was a mistake, a one-time lapse in judgment, that we could work through it. So I tried to forgive him. I tried to convince myself that we were strong enough to survive this. But the truth was, a part of me had already been broken. Trust, once shattered, is incredibly hard to rebuild. I stayed, and we went through the motions, trying to patch things up. But with every passing day, I felt the distance between us growing wider. I wanted to hold on to the dream of what we could be, but I couldn't ignore the truth anymore. Jake wasn't the man I thought he was, and I wasn't the woman I once was either. 8 months later, Jake told me he wasn't ready for the commitment of marriage. The words hit me like a ton of bricks. I had known deep down that things weren't right, but hearing him say it aloud made it real. The man I had married, the man I believed in so fiercely, was telling me that he wasn't ready to be with me, that he couldn't give me the life we had once promised each other. It shattered something inside me. The person I thought I knew wasn't there anymore. I was still in love with the idea of him, with the potential of what we could become, but the truth was, our marriage was already falling apart. And still, I didn't rush into divorce. I stayed, hoping that with time, he'd come back to me. I clung to the hope that maturity would change him, that he'd realize we were meant to be together. I know it sounds pathetic now, but I truly believe that. I wasn't ready to let go. We stayed legally married for nearly 5 years. In those years, we saw other people, but our lives remained deeply intertwined. Our past was a shadow that loomed over every decision, every interaction. We couldn't let go of each other, but neither of us was truly willing to fight for what we had left. Then came the job offer, the opportunity to start fresh, to leave everything behind, a chance to escape the suffocating uncertainty that had defined my life for so long. It was a sign, a new chapter, a new beginning. I knew deep down it was time for me to take control of my life, to finally make the decision I had been avoiding. When I brought it up to Jake, he didn't resist. There was no fight, no protest. He seemed relieved, almost as if he knew we had reached the end. We mutually agreed that divorce was the right decision. It was strange. There was no anger, no bitterness. It was like we had both accepted the inevitability of it all. And then, just a month after the divorce papers were filed, I met Aaron. He was everything I hadn't realized I needed. Kind, thoughtful, and genuinely interested in me, not my past or the baggage I carried. I fell for him quickly. It was the kind of love that felt natural, easy. It was nothing like the whirlwind romance with Jake. It was real, and it was what I needed. But even as I started this new chapter with Aaron, there were moments when my mind drifted back to Jake. It was hard not to wonder what could have been. What if we had made it work? What if we had fought for each other? Sometimes the what-ifs haunted me in my quietest moments. Years passed after the divorce, and I tried not to think about Jake too much. But then I started seeing him online. His social media presence exploded. Jake was thriving, he was rich, famous, and living a life I had once imagined for us. He had become the success we had both dreamed of, but it wasn't with me. It wasn't the life we had talked about. At first, it felt like a punch to the stomach. There was a mix of emotions, jealousy, nostalgia, and an overwhelming sense of loss. I couldn't help but think, what if I had stayed? What if we had worked through the tough times? Would we have made it together? But as time went on, I realized something. Jake's success didn't define me. His fame, his fortune, they weren't mine to claim. Yes, I had been a part of his journey, but his rise to the top was 100% his. I couldn't let his achievements make me feel small. I had my own life, my own successes. And although they weren't as public or as glamorous, they were mine. In the end, I don't regret my decision to leave. Yes, Jake is living the life we once dreamed about, but that life wasn't meant for me. I had chosen love, not the love of a man, but love for myself. I had chosen to leave a relationship that wasn't working, to pursue something that was true to who I was. And that was the best decision I could have made. Now when I look back, I realize that I wasn't just walking away from Jake. I was walking toward my own happiness. Jake's life is his, and mine is mine. We've both earned the paths we've taken, and the lives we're living are a direct result of the choices we made. I'm happy with where I am. I've built a life for myself, one that may not be filled with fame or millions, but one that is full of fulfillment, growth, and love. I may not be living the life Jake is living, but I'm living mine. And that's enough. I've learned that sometimes the right choice isn't the easiest one. Leaving wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And when I look at my life now, I know I made the right decision. The past is the past, and I'm ready for whatever the future holds. Thank you all for your thoughtful responses. Writing this out has helped me process so much. It's easy to look back and wonder, what if? But in the end, the choices I made were the right ones for me. I'm proud of where I am, and I'm grateful for the life I've built. My journey isn't over, and I'm excited to see what's next.